Hi everyone, Cece Summerfield here, your San Diego real estate guide. Today, I want to dive into a topic that's been making headlines lately. And honestly, it's something a lot of my clients are asking me about. The big question is this: if you bought a home in San Diego during the pandemic peak, are you at risk of selling at a loss today? So let's break this down, because there's a lot of misinformation out there. And the answer really depends on what type of property you own, when you bought it, and where in San Diego you're located. When COVID first hit, we all remember what happened with real estate. Interest rates dropped to record lows, buyers rushed into the market, and home prices here in San Diego skyrocketed. Between early 2020 and mid-2022, the median home price in San Diego County jumped by nearly 40%. That is one of the fastest increases we've ever seen. If you were buying during that time, you most likely had to compete with multiple offer situations and most likely ended up paying well over the asking just to win the house. At that time, the logic made sense. Rates were cheap, demand was insane, and everyone thought appreciation would just keep on going. But now, here we are in mid-2025, and the landscape looks a little different. According to recent Redfin data, about 2.7% of homes listed in San Diego right now are at risk of being sold at a financial loss. Now, that may not sound like a huge number, but let's put it into perspective. For single-family homes, the risk is relatively low. Only about 1% of sellers are underwater. But for condos, that number jumps significantly, closer to 5%. So the pain point isn't evenly distributed. Homeowners in detached homes, especially in desirable neighborhoods like Carlsbad, San Carlos, or Poway, have generally held on to their equity. But condo owners, particularly those who bought newer units or smaller properties at the top of the market, are really feeling the squeeze. Why are condos more vulnerable? There are a few reasons. First, many condos appreciated rapidly during the boom, sometimes outpacing what buyers could sustain long term. Second, homeowners association fees have only gone up. And with rising costs everywhere, some buyers are now turned off by that added expense. And third, during the pandemic, a lot of investors scooped up condos for short-term rentals. As regulations tighten and demand shifts, some of those units are hitting the market at lower resale values. It's also important to remember that San Diego isn't just one market. It's really a collection of micro markets, and the risk isn't spread evenly. In downtown and metro neighborhoods like North Park or East Village, some condo owners who bought at the peak pricing in 2021 are struggling to sell for what they paid for it. In North County areas like Carlsbad or Encinitas, single-family homes are still commanding strong prices, though buyers are definitely a little more picky. And in more inland neighborhoods like Scripps Ranch, San Marcos, or Tierra Santa, values have stayed stable thanks to strong schools, move-in ready houses, and large lots that buyers continue to prioritize. So if you're wondering about your own property, the real question is, did you buy at or near the top? And are you in an area that has slowed down more than others? If you're a seller who bought in 2021 or 2022 and you need to sell now, you might be a little bit nervous, and I can completely understand why. But let's be honest, the truth is most San Diego homeowners still have equity, especially if you put money down or you owned for a few years before the peak. But even if you did buy with a very low down payment at the top of the market, and you could be in a situation where your home hasn't appreciated enough to cover your selling costs, that doesn't necessarily mean you're in trouble, but it does mean you'll need a strategy. Some sellers are choosing to either wait it out and rent the property until they can build more equity, and others are getting creative with pricing and offering incentives to attract buyers. So let's flip over to talking about buyers. For buyers, this actually is an opportunity. The days of wild bidding wars are mostly behind us. In certain pockets, especially in the condo market, you can negotiate better deals. But you also want to think long term. San Diego has always been one of the most resilient housing markets in the US. So even if prices dip in the short term over a 7 to 10 year horizon, history shows values here tend to recover and grow. So if you're planning to stay in your home for the long haul, I'd say a minimum of at least 5 years, buying today still is a smart move. Here's the key takeaways I want you to remember. Only a small percentage of San Diego homeowners are actually at risk of losing money right now, and the number is much lower than the national average. Condos are more vulnerable than single-family homes, especially in downtown areas, and most single-family homeowners still have healthy equity thanks to strong demand and limited inventory. If you're a seller who bought at the top, talk to an agent about strategies. You may have more options than you think. And if you're a buyer, this could be your window to get into the market without as much competition. So should you be worried if you bought in the last few years? The answer is, it depends. Real estate is hyper-local here in San Diego, and every situation is unique. If you're curious about your own home value, or you're thinking about buying but want to understand the risks, let's chat. I'm always happy to walk you through your options, run the numbers, and give you an honest perspective with no fluff. Thanks for tuning in. Don't forget to like this video, subscribe to my channel, and hit the bell so you don't miss future updates on the San Diego housing market. And I'll see you on the next video when I talk more about living in America's finest city, San Diego.